It had a significant impact, I think, because we all experienced enormous anxiety at the very beginning and for the first few months of the lockdown, which I think, even though I was in my studio every day, you couldn't avoid the drama and the ongoing events around, So I found it very difficult, I think, initially to settle into making work. Although I did set projects for myself, such as, because I live in Dublin and in the suburbs, I was able to explore the River Dodder, which was very local to me, and find compositions within that. Very much kind of a much more slow-looking, close-looking at my local environment, and just reaching out to the 2-kilometre limits and working within those parameters. But it gradually, as the summer went on, and I was able to just really settle into work properly, I think, as each lockdown lifted, and even though it returned again, it was still, I was back on track, and so I worked right through, really. Well, I can tell you that it's inspired by my daily journey down to Strand for a morning swim. And I came across these broadleaf plants again, the very same plant that grows on the banks of the Dodder. So it made me think, okay, can I, because they grow quite profusely around the area, which is the dunes around Killala Bay, and this sort of grassland here, water area. So it was interesting. So I found this composition, had to try and make it work, of course. There's a kind of zigzag composition, which again is counterintuitive, because I tend to like geometry within work. But so I thought this would be very interesting. But instead of having, say, in the Dodder paintings, I tend to put the plants on the upper half of the composition. In this one, I'm putting them in the lower one and having the distance in the perspective behind on the upper half. So it's an interesting way of approaching it, But it's like that. I like the challenge of a composition that maybe could be very difficult to work. But I'll keep working on it until it comes together. Every experience has an influence to some degree, whether that's going on residencies elsewhere. I've been to the States. I've worked in forests and in snowy landscapes, and they all have it's all about painting, really, because I tend to think of myself not as a landscape painter, but as a painter that makes paintings, and the landscape tends to be the subject matter. So I'm really more interested in painting, making paintings, than I am in the landscape itself. But I use the landscape to shape compositions, to find some sort of meaning in the work as well.